Hello and welcome to All Four United with me, John Foster, MUFC. Kirsty Hansen should have been on the thumbnail of this video. It was her birthday last weekend. She scored 2 goals. This is a match reaction show, but unfortunately, with what happened last night, that has been more than tainted. We'll obviously discuss that and our thoughts about what's been said over the last 12, 24 hours, however long it's been, 24 hours. I don't even know what time it is, to be fair. We've got Matt, Ben and Natalie joining us tonight. How's everybody doing?
Good, John.
Yeah, not too bad.
So.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, everyone. I know it's going to be a tough time. Look, we're going to talk about what we need to talk about, but we will discuss the match from yesterday as well. And of course, we did have a topic about what makes player of the season as well. Now we're coming towards the end of the season, we do want to talk about that. But of course, we obviously went to bed on a bit of a shock news, really. I was saying to Ben before we went live, I'm not particularly shocked that the Glazers have chose to do this at all, but I was shocked that something so big can potentially happen with so much ease by the looks of it. So Natalie, obviously, I'll bring yourself in first, Nat. What have you been up to today? What's been your thought process?
John, I've been on BBC News, right? Northwest Tonight. If anyone watched it, anyone's local, I've been on that. Everyone knows if they are local, listens to BBC Radio Manchester. As soon as I woke up, people were ringing me, want your reaction on this, want your reaction on this. The thing what shocked me in the morning was the thing about legacy fans. Legacy fans. That's what I'm considered. Yeah. And I think to myself, I've got a good legacy, though, haven't I? I mean, I think I've watched this team, right, since 2018 when it formed and everything that we were doing. And when they went to Old Trafford, they were talking about the history in this dressing room and all this, the tradition. You know, Tobin Heath has come and joined this team and she says, I love passion. I love the rivalry, the history, the tradition. And that's what they're trying to say is irrelevant now. I mean, I know there's different generations and football needs to change and all that kind of thing, but you know, to just disregard everything. You know, I'm hearing Ian Sterling, who's part of Must, and he's saying a team died. Let's not get it twisted. You know, a couple of years ago, it's 50 years. I think it's 51 or 52. I'm not that great in maths, I'm sorry. But, you know, 52 or something years since the Busby Babes crashed the plane playing for Man United. And we're talking about these fans don't matter. It's the new generation of fans. And listen, I'm all on board with, you know, more global, more sort of kind of, you know, TikTok and all that kind of generation. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. But to just disregard your history and disregard, you know, people who've been before and everything that we've done. You know, I've heard Fergie talking about years in the Champions League and 99 and me growing up. I mean, God, one of the first ever games I can remember was a 0-0, and it was what got me really excited. And I was the first ever game in the Stretford End, and the place was rocking before the Glazers, and I think it was against Villarreal. They're not even in the Champions League anymore. So this is the thing, like our club can't keep up, not in a horrible way. It's the first time back to back. I know it's about the women's doing this show, but it's the first time back to back that we made it. We're out here saying that we're the fucking, sorry I'm swearing, but we're one of the 12. Who the hell are we? When was the last time we won the Champions League? And I just think that's what's got me, John. That's what's got me the most. I protested when the Glazers took over, but I wasn't about to go to FC United. But I protested when the Glazers took over. I didn't think it was right. They warned us this would happen, and they've done it. And you know, for me now to call myself a legacy fan, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Straw that's broke the camel's back. Gone everywhere supporting this team, and you know, now I'm the chairperson of the Barmy Army, one of the well-known, you know, most renowned, one of the biggest fan groups in English football. You know, we're known, right? You know, there's women's national team players that were talking about us when we were in the Championship. There's players that were talking about us playing for the national team when we were in the Championship, waiting to join our team. They're not waiting to join it because, you know, Casey's got a big factor, but they're waiting to join it. Mary's even said it, you join it for the fans, you join it for this. And you know, they want to join it because of that badge, and the way they can just throw that away based on what? Based on a bit of extra money. Like, they've not got billions, you know. And then when you think about it, what are they going to do with this extra money? Because we've got debt already. They've not paid it off. They're not investing more, you know, and that's what it is. They don't want to invest. They don't want to invest to get to the top. and they just want to get it handed to them, and that's what this is. And it's, like I said, that's that word. That's it for me. That's the thing. That's just. I'm saying to myself, I'm not going back, John. Men or women, not going back. I mean, the men, I've always gone to the women, but I can't even go to the women. It's not like I don't love them players. I love them to death, but I can't even bear it, now, because if that's how you see me, I don't know why I'm wasting my energy on you.
Nat, I mean, obviously we know that this is all money orientated, but I do take something from what you've said there. Obviously, we mentioned legacy fans, and I'm going to bring Ben in shortly to talk about the being called a legacy fan. But do you think it is just that era at the moment with social media, the fact that there's hardly any loyalty and
because I saw something, John, and I saw something, and it said, "We know that players," and we had that podcast. That's what makes me laugh, John.
I know.
We did that thing on Friday night, and we said it's about the badge, and people were saying to me, "It's the biggest watch show," and they're saying it's more than that, But then it's just justifying it for them people to abuse our other players. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I love other teams. Like, I know Craney goes to Leicester, and I've watched Sheffield. I think Carla Ward, I've always talked her name. So for me, I get it with the women's fans. It's not like that in the men's game. You do sort of appreciate loads of different teams. But do you think that Carla Ward, do you think that Leicester, do you think that all those teams don't understand how passionate we are for Man United and don't respect that too? And, for me, they'll be disgusted at this. I've seen Charlie Devlin put a thing going, RIP football, she's a girl. We're playing for Leicester now. Leicester got promoted. I was buzzing for her, as but she's a Man United fan as well. And even though she's playing for Leicester and everything now, and I hope Leicester do well, but she still understands how much it means to be a Man United fan. And this is the end of football. And I know people say, oh, you're over-exaggerating. No, I'm not, because it just shows that loyalty means nothing. It doesn't matter that we've created these, this channel. This channel is thriving. Doesn't matter, John. What matters is, people that'll come one-off and do this and put in hundreds of pounds, because it's going to price us out. We won't be going to no games anytime soon if this all comes through and it goes through for the women's side and all that. And I know Matt's going to go on to that, but, they don't want £30 tickets. They don't want £5 tickets. They don't want a £40 season ticket. They want us to be spending, if you look at an average men's ticket, that's about £700. They want that for the women too. They want that even more, and then they know that with Real Madrid, Barcelona, and all that, they can charge even more. And if we're playing those teams every minute, it might do well for them for the first couple of years. Exciting games end to end, the best players. They ain't gonna last. I've seen one of I think I can't even remember his name, but he's from Juventus, and he was talking about Gen X and all this. And I get it. Yeah, we need to get more younger fans involved. Don't get it twisted. Look at the demographic. It's all right men. We need to get diversity. We need to get young people. Maybe people don't want rivalry as much. Fair enough, but the way that they've done it, and by just not talking to anyone, I look at Barmia, we're trying to get more diverse, we're trying to get LGBT involved, we're trying to get young people. There's a lot of people out there working so hard to make it more representative. But, they're talking about 16%. I think they said 30% of 16 to 24-year-olds don't like football. But the thing is, though, they don't understand that that's probably been the case for a lot of years. I've got mates who don't like football, and so no matter how much you change it and how extravagant you make it, they're not going to like it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Some people like football and some people don't. But the fact that you're talking about 30%, so you're saying 70% of 16 to 24-year-olds do like football. So what do they like about it? Have you even bothered to ask them? No, you haven't. You just taken this kind of concept and wanting to run with it. And I get it. They want competitive matches. Everyone wants competitive matches. But to be fair, some of the most competitive matches are your Burnley versus Chelsea. Look how they beat them. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's what people love about the Premier League. And look how they're trying to stay in the Premier League. That's the thing. But the Premier League are saying no. And it's just, all these people now seeing lobby, and the government are actually finally stepping up, because they know as well. And I'm not saying UEFA are any decent. I'm not saying FIFA are decent. I'm not saying the government are decent. But, they don't want this to happen on their watch. Because imagine no one's going to be voting Tory government if they let this happen, So, it's just about the rich getting rich. And I think, I've seen a few people tweeting, yes, the Super League, and whether they'll watch tonight. Cool, watch. That's your opinion, yeah. But I don't think you're very clued up You know, you might get a Hangland for £100 million, but they're getting 3 billion. So where's the rest of that money gone?
Exactly.
You know, if United were paying our debts off and putting the money into our club, I could understand where you're coming from. Yeah, but they're not. And it's been shown they're making money. They're making profit during the current pandemic. It's just that they're not making the profit that they want to make. Yeah. And so now they're getting a bit shook and worried and this and that. So they want to just take it away. And, you know, don't think there's going to be games at Old Trafford. Don't think you'll be able to go. Me and you, that's it, John. Like I said, that word, that's the thing that's just... I was okay until they said that, John.
Yeah.
Until they considered me like that, I was okay. And I know Ben will feel it and, you know, other people. But until they said that word, that's the word that's done it for me. That's really like... And people will say, oh, you're just saying this now. No. That's the word. And I just think, if you can just look at me with such disgust... You know, I think to myself, I've created an all right legacy for your women's team, aren't I? You know, I've created an all right legacy for your women's team. I've put that excitement about your women's team. Would we have a Sky deal? I'm not saying, but, you know... I'm not saying it's just me. I'm not saying, but it's all of us. We've done an all right job. And to just sort of say, oh, yeah, but you're not what we want, though. You know, I just think... And I love it. Like I said, I love a bit of TikTok. I follow a lot of girls and all those kind of things. But I just... That word is the one word that I don't think I can ever... I don't know. I'm never saying a big bro saying ever, but that... They're going to have to do something major because... It's just hit me, that word, and I just think I'm not that's all you see me as. That's all you see everything as. All the time, the effort, all the flags, all the money, all the, you know, graft. Everyone asks me questions all the time, and I'll do it because I love this club. I love this badge. To just sit there and say, oh, well, they're legacy fans. They don't matter anymore. Well, I just, you know, I mean, I came on this show, and I remember... what's his name? The Irish guy on this show, what's it called? The AFU one. Joe. And he's saying, I had, you know, when he has the AFU on court, and he's saying, oh, and they were all slagging off John Murtagh. And I said, John Murtagh was a top guy. Top guy. I love him. I respect him. And for me to say that, and I thought, wow, everyone's giving me heat over it, but I will say that, and I think he still is a top guy. I don't think he's backing this up. John Murtagh that I know isn't backing this up. He is backing it up in public because he has to. No one wants to lose their job. But the John Murtagh I know that I've sat down in a pub with, no chance. And I'm not saying, you know, I'll get in trouble for saying that, but he's a top bloke, John. Top bloke. Always helps us out. When me and Matt were in Oslo, he helps us out. So the John Murtagh, the guy that you've just appointed director of football, he doesn't back, you know, publicly. Publicly, obviously, they're going to do what they've got to do. But I think there's a lot of people in that club that aren't backing that up. But, you know, you got to keep your job, haven't you? So it's a dark day. And I know people will say, oh, you know, it's the same uproar when the Premier League happened. It's the same uproar when Champions League first happened. I wasn't alive then, so I can't talk to that. But for me... It's that word, it's the use of that word, and if they hadn't said that, then there would have been some movement from me, but it's that word is it's the end, John, and I'm not, you know, I still support United, and I still support the players, and the team, and the management, and even the club, like I'm saying, John Murtagh is a good guy, but that word, for these people to say that word about me, and about people like Ben and you, and you know, other people that have been on European aways longer than me. No, what can you say? What can you say? That's how they think about us. So why am I wasting my time?
Well, I'm going to let Ben speak about legacy fans and obviously anything else you want to say on it, Ben. But I can see why obviously Natalie's focusing on that word because it's something that's stuck in my mind and I was going to bring this conversation up with yourself. Natalie's beat me to it. But for a season ticket holder, Ben, and someone who's followed United for, well, you're pretty much the same age as me. I know you always talk about Lee Sharp and everything. How do you feel the fact that you've basically just been disrespected? Because that's the way they're looking at it, being called a legacy fan. And they're kind of turning their backs on the legacy fans and going for this new breed of fan who doesn't really have any loyalty, who goes from player to player, who will slag off our team and quite easily buy all the Real Madrid players to come to Man United if they could, all this kind of generation. What's your thoughts on this one, Ben?
They turned their back on us years ago, mate. We're nothing but a number to them. We have been for a long, long time. Match-going fans have been like the dirt on the bottom of their shoe for a long, long time, mate. They haven't cared. I remember back in the day, I was a kid, and I said this on a video that I uploaded on my YouTube channel earlier. I remember back in the day when you was a kid, you'd go to the Cliff training ground, you could go and meet your heroes, you could go and get autographs signed, you can go and, you know, have a little chit-chat to them. That was fucking football. This ain't football. You know, when they opened this carrot stuff, everything became exclusive, you know. I don't understand why they shut the fans out, but they started doing that I think around the 2000s, around the millennium mark, they started doing that. It became less accessible to people. You know, as soon as Carrington opened, I can't remember what year that opened, do forgive me, but as soon as that opened, that was it, bang, shut out. You know, and I get it for security purposes, of course I get that, but that one was so good about being a kid in the 90s, go to the Cliff, photographs, get your pictures taken with your heroes, some of the biggest players that's ever played for this football club. Mate, I'm done with it all. I'm done with it. You know, this was the last straw. Like Nat said, that's it, mate. A legacy fan. They're speaking about that word legacy. They don't even know what the fucking word means. Legacy. They have gone and destroyed the legacy of Sir Matt Busby and Jimmy Murphy. Those two names alone, they've gone and destroyed their legacy. Manchester United is a football club that was around long before Matt Busby and Jimmy Murphy. Of course, I get that. But those two figures in particular shaped the very history of Manchester United, the very reason why Manchester United became the football club that we all know and love, or we all used to know and love. It's just a dark day in football, mate. The owners have turned their backs. And they've turned their backs not only on the fans, but they've turned their backs on every fibre and every meaning of what the club is all about. And I do apologise to Hammer, and I think, I don't know, I'm not sure if he'll be watching this, but he's part of the AFU. And I think he's got a little bit upset when we say about Americanising the sport. And it is, I'm sorry, but it is Americanising the sport. You're trying to franchise it all off to competitions that have no competition. Well, what the hell is that all about? I think a league, a competition where there's no relegation. That 15 clubs will always be the same 15 clubs year in, year out. That's boring. And like Natalie said, it might be all right for the first couple of years. But I said on AFU last night on the Walford Reds, I give it less than 5 years that competition being in the dirt. Players won't want to play. It's boring. People will lose interest. Boring. This legacy fan thing for this new fans. Do you know why you're struggling to get people into football? That's down to the government. Because at school level, you've denied all competition. Oh, there's no winners, there's no losers. It's all about fair play, blah, blah, blah. Can't upset this person, can't upset. That's where it's all gone wrong. That's why people ain't participating. Because it's boring. You're making everything boring. You've taken the fun, the life out of football. And it's not just the government. It's the FA. It's the Premier League. It's the EFL. It's UEFA. It's FIFA. They're all to blame. It's the owners of the football clubs. They're just greed merchants. And, you know, and what's the common denominator in all this? American ownership. Glazers, Liverpool, they've got American. Arsenal got a bit. Apparently, I didn't realise that Chelsea, I know they're owned by Roman Abramovich, but they've got a major American backer or something. And then this JPW's coming in, apparently American, you know, to try and run the Super League. That he's going to give them all his cash and that. I don't want to play for a JP Morgan trophy. I want, like I said on All for United last night, I want fair competition. I want to win trophies on merit. I want to be in competitions on merit. And I said this on my video that I uploaded on my YouTube channel. And I felt like I maybe disrespected the European Cup a little bit. But for me, the FA Cup was more prestigious. The FA Cup, the world's oldest knockout competition. That all went as soon as the Champions League went, the Champions Runners-Up League. Third place finish, fourth place finish. We disrespected the European Cup as soon as UEFA disrespected that tournament as soon as they made it open to every fucker. They should have kept the prestige of the champions of every domestic league just being in that competition. That's why it's called the Champions League. Why do we still call it the Champions League? It ain't the Champions League. It's the Champions Runners-Up, third, fourth, and whoever else comes into it now because they're trying to make it bigger. We need to retitle that bloody thing. Go back to just be called the European Cup. You know, because it ain't the Champions League.
Ben, you talk about the American ownership there as well. Even the structure of the competition is very American, isn't it? The fact that
that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I've got an American friend. I've got nothing against Americans, but I just don't understand why this country and everything, and it's not just football as well, is why we have to Americanize everything. It's so boring. You know, European and world football is a humongous sport. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to the English. We might have been one of the forefounders, but it belongs to the people. It belongs to the world. And we're letting these people, and these greedy Yanks and greedy Russians and greedy Arabs take our game from us to go so they can profit even more. It's done. You might as well bulldoze down Old Trafford. Mm. That's what they're trying to say, basically. And I said this earlier as well. I think I might have touched upon it on AFU as well last night. How long before they franchise this club and they move it, like they do in America, they move these clubs all over the fucking place? How long before they franchise Man United and move it to somewhere Saudi Arabia or in America to Arizona? Remember they did this with the Raiders? Remember, was it the Oakland Raiders? What's it now? The New York Raiders? I don't fucking know where the fuck they are from now. But that's what's going to happen. It's all about money, 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 money. It's not about fans. And I'm so glad. I am so glad. Rivalries aside, I am so glad that Leeds United Liverpool fans have come together tonight outside Ellen Road and started protesting. I even said earlier on in the tweet, I will stand by City fans. I will stand shoulder to shoulder with Leeds fans, Liverpool fans, whatever fans it may be, make a fucking stand, because enough is enough now. Enough is enough. It is. The pure greed has ruined the game for years. And it's just now took it to a whole new level. This legacy fan, and I can see where Nat's coming from, that's pissed me off as well. And, you know, I feel sorry for the most. I've touched up on this on everything I've spoken to at the minute, like AFU and my own channel. It's the next generation. My son's age, 7 years old. I'm trying to tell him, you know, trying to teach him about the history of my football club, the history of Manchester United. What's the fucking point now? How can I say to him? How can I, you know, not demand of him? How can I justify, is the word I'm looking for, justify for him to go and support Manchester United? I'd rather, to be fair, mate, at the minute, I'd rather him go and support Salford City or someone like that. Someone that would be, or Trafford FC or something like that, or Altrincham. Altringham's a lovely football club. Give your money to people that actually appreciate your money, that actually appreciate every click of a turnstile that fan will come through. I've had it up to here with Premier League football. I've had it up to here with Manchester United. And not because I don't love Manchester United, because I just cannot believe that. Well, I can believe, actually, because our owners are despicable. But I cannot believe it's come to this now, where they've turned their back on us completely as a football club in its entirety. Because, as I said before at the top, they turned their back on match-going fans a long time ago. It's just the armchair fans they cared about, the people that click the remotes. And it's about time that the TV companies do something. Sky, I don't know what Sky, BT and all that could do. If you want to make a stand, you've got to do something. I know Gary Neville was calling out the Glazers a little bit today, and he was saying that pundits like BT, Sky, BBC, ITV have to all come together. They have to all come together. They have to boycott something. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Boycott showing United games for the rest of the, I don't care now. Just pull all the rest of the funding. I don't know if they've already got the money up front or whatever, but if you're still paying them jibs and jabs, forget it. Pull it all. And I hope, and I say it with a broken heart, I hope that the authorities come down hard on United, kick us out of the Premier League. I'm done with it. Kick us out of it. We do not deserve it. We have disrespected every proper footballing competition going.
Ben, I'm going to have to let
Europa League, mate. I don't care. You don't deserve it.
Go on, Matt. I know that you've obviously you're going to have a whole show based on this tomorrow. On all of our Twitter lives, but by all means, you need to say something on. Obviously, this is the first show since it's been announced. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think tomorrow, obviously, I'm going to come at it from sort of the women's team point of view. So I'll sort of kind of expand on Ben and Nat, who spoke, fantastically on that. I think I don't even know where to start. It's just so disappointing. I mean, listen, out of all the years of following football, there's been highs and lows, but this just tops it for the lows. Like literally, I can't even summarize it because I'll be going off on one. But I think they've both touched on it well. I think what's been built up over the years, people talk about the Busby Babes from the 50s and everything's been built up and, fans have been following for years. And I don't know, it's a kick in the teeth due to pure greed. And there's no other reason for it. There really isn't, they've not consulted fans, which, you wouldn't expect them to anyway, because like Ben said, it's just the number, but they've not even consulted players. And I know tonight, Ben mentioned about standing shoulder to shoulder with Leeds fans. I believe that Leeds players have sort of put on a protest wearing T-shirts. I mean, listen, whether it makes a difference, probably not, because if like I said, if you're greedy, you probably were not going to care about a few T-shirts. But I think just a massive kick in the teeth. Ben touched about being able to go to the cliff and sort of stand in the car park. And back then, football was kind of in touch with the public and in touch with reality. And I think for me personally, that's where I got into the women's game. Became a little bit more disillusioned with sort of the men's team back in 2014, 15, and kind of not lost touch with it completely, but kind of lost enthusiasm more than that I had. And the women's game in general was, like I say, in touch with fans. And like I say, we'll move on to that tomorrow. But like I said, I can't summarise how much of a kick in the teeth it is. Just no thought in this whatsoever. And Ben talked about Americanising it, and there was all the shite last year or the year before about, we want to play 39 games and we'll do one in China and we'll do one in bloody Timbuktu. Yeah. And it's a load of crap. I mean, listen, that didn't take off, and I'm half sat on the fence with this. I'm reading some things and I'm saying, seeing people are going to block it and this and that. But I think if you look at it, these clubs, they're not going to be bothered because, you can throw them out the Premier League because they're going to be making more money. They're on about chucking billions of pounds at this. What's Champions League or the Premier League? So for me, if they can choose to withdraw their membership from the Premier League, which is what they'll do, and I'd be surprised if anybody can do anything to stop it. If they can, then obviously, that's what everybody wants. But I don't think I can ever recall sort of fans of every single club all singing from the same hymn sheet and agreeing to something. It's very, very rare in football. Obviously, again, I'll come back to Ben's point. He said, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with our greatest rivals, with City, with Liverpool, with City and Leeds and things like that, and obviously whoever else is fans. I think it just shows, doesn't it, the massive backlash when you can literally agree with your rivals on one thing. And listen, football it's one of them. It means something to everybody. And, for some people, it's like a social. For some people, it's just a way to cope. And it's good for them mentally, even if, you're going out and the game's not been the greatest, that might be for somebody just getting out of the house for a couple of hours on a match day, and I think it's going to lose fans, absolutely. Natalie talked about it, the prices and that. Remains to be seen what will happen with the women. But, again, and I agree with Natalie, she's talked about, not wanting to go. And you can't blame her. You really can't. I'd agree and stand, again, side by side with anyone that says I'm not going, because I think there becomes a point where fans do need a voice. And another one there, you see, somebody that's been going for 60 years. I think, it means so many people that now, like I say, it's the lowest I've ever felt about football. You can talk about sort of cup final losses and things that haven't gone right, and stuff like that over the years. And you get over that, and that's football. But I think, I mean, there's people on this chat obviously older than me, and people in comments that have been watching longer than me. But I can't, like I say, it's difficult to summarise. You cannot get any lower. It's just disappointing to know that they've kind of you know, back in December, some comments were made by sort of, you know, Ed Woodward and things, and they were saying about, oh yeah, this will never happen. And then they kind of just go behind your back and throw everybody under a bus. And I mean, I know, you know, you guys, and again, people in the comments that go to the Men's Weekly, you know, you've kind of, you know, you've got similar opinions to me. I think like I say, it's difficult because it's hard without going on a full-on like hour rant, you know, and I know we've got other things to talk about, but I think just to kind of wrap it up, you know, again, it's just pure greed, like I said before. There's no other way about it. There's no reason for it. There's no logic in it. I've not seen anybody that's agreed to it and wants it, you know. Players speak out in it, pundits speak out in it. You know, what does that tell you? Does everybody speaking out against it, apart from owners of, is it 6 so-called elite clubs or 12 or 15? Or I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to sort of let you move on, John, because like I say, you know, I don't want to take up all your show with it, but I literally cannot put into words the sort of anger and frustration, disappointment that sort of came about yesterday, especially after, like I said, you know, the women's team had a good result, and it was good to kind of know we struggled, and then kind of talking no longer than an hour or two later, it was completely gone, and you're just absolutely down. And yeah, I don't know. It's one of them.
The women's team had a good result, didn't they? And that's the thing. And we'll talk about that very shortly. I just want to finish on that. Obviously, Nat's the chairperson of the supporters group, and I just wonder what your thoughts here are, Nat, on maybe what we can do as fans going forward.
Yeah, I think I want the girls to know we always support them. Each individual player, the manager, I support her. I don't think any of those players or that manager, the way that she's talked about other things, you know, the way that she's inspired me, has probably inspired a lot of people, you know, change the game and all this kind of thing. And for me, this isn't change the game. This isn't change the game. It's changing it, but it's not. This is not the way that she would want it to be changed. Yeah. She wants us to be at the forefront and, you know, like I said, grow it. It's a family. It's a community. Those are words I've always used when I'm talking about the women's team. I got disillusioned in a way, like Matt, and the women's team saved me. And now I'm sitting here saying I don't want to go to the women's team. I'm saying it with such conviction. I'm not saying like, oh, it'll change tomorrow, it'll change in a couple of months. That word, like I said, it's the straw that's broke the camel's back, and until they go, it's never going to change. Listen, so I don't want to put other people off. This show is always about positivity. I mean, we have had a great result, and they've spoiled it, but they've not spoiled it for the whole of it. They've spoiled it now. Yeah, we'll bounce back. It's Man United. They'll never die. You know, people have died for it, but they'll never die. So, you know, no matter how hard these idiots will try and destroy us, it's not gonna happen. And we just need to stick together. Like I said, I'll stand with every fan. City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. I'll stand with them all, and that's what I think it is. It's about people now putting aside how much you hate each other club or whatever, or what you think of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like putting aside what you think of Barmy Army or anything. It's about us all now gathering together and saving football, men and women's, because, you know, people might think it's not going to affect the women's game, but it's going to affect it massively. And, you know, if Man United are kicked out of the Premier League, it's going to affect it. Even if we're still in the Super League, being kicked out of the Premier League is going to affect this women's team. And I was a bit cautious of the women's team, you know, when it first started, hoping they would put it together, but they are doing better now, and I don't want this to sort of derail it all.
Thanks, Nat. We do want to talk about the match. I mean, that was the whole idea of tonight's job. But obviously, with the news, we have to address it because that's what we do on this channel. Don't we? We talk about everything the social media's talking about, and of course, good things and bad things. But Ben, let's talk a bit about that match then yesterday. I'm glad that I've come to you first. Kirsty Hansen's birthday on Saturday. She scored a brace on Sunday. She started as well. Obviously, she hasn't started that many games this season. Great game for her, and nice to see her get 2 goals.
That's you know, that's probably the highlight of my weekend. You know, seeing Kirsty's banging a brace. You know, but I don't know, man. I'm just lost for words, pal, at the minute. But I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to think positive things, but my head is clouded, mate. I can't remember too much about the games. I can't remember too much about the men's game either, you know. But it's just pleasing to see. It's if that's the one positive thing I could take from the weekend is that she scored on her birthday. I did tweet a happy birthday, and it'll be hopefully this weekend it'll be topped off with a goal to celebrate. And she got 2 goals, and that was brilliant. You know, I'm pleased for him. You know what I mean? And I would never stop supporting the girls. I would never stop supporting anyone that wears the Manchester United shirt. But this is a huge kick in the teeth, man. And I just, you know, it's not their fault. It's not the players' fault. It's not the management's fault. You know, I feel sorry for both Casey and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more than anything. Apparently, things are coming out now that players inside Carrington are furious about this. They've not been consulted. They're furious. Jurgen Klopp's done well. He's come out and spoke out a little bit. I just feel sorry for the players more than anything, man. We're a project that's coming up to, you know, the 3rd full year, you know, of completion. Obviously, I suppose you could say last season wasn't really complete because of the pandemic, but, you know, and it's just, let's just throw everything into a mess, man, for these players. These players deserve our support, that, you know what I mean? And it's nothing against them. There's nothing. I will support Kirsty till the day she don't play football no more. You know what I mean? And so it was pleasing to see her score. It was pleasing to see Millie Turner and Amy Turner score as well. That was good, you know. And I it's pleased that we've got a bit of a high score line. You know, I thought, you know, we usually maybe take a foot off the gas, but it's nice to see we went a little bit ruthless, a little bit. We need to, you know, just get the confidence back in the ranks a little bit in terms of scoring goals. So I know it's Burnley. People get there, it's Burnley. They're a couple of divisions below or whatever it is, but you know, I thought it was a decent performance, mate. It was a decent performance, and I thought, and I said it on me and Matt Shaw, I thought Casey got strong, and she went strong, you know, with a couple of changed faces, just to put a bit of a statement out there. And it was nice to see that once we were comfortable in the game, she did bring some of the youngsters on, you know, to blood them in a little bit more, and she brought Fran Bentley on, you know, just to give her a little bit of game time, and that's how it should be. Get the job done first, and then allow to bring your players that either need minutes on or players that you want to blood into the team, you know. And that's what Manchester United is about, blooding these players from our academy. You know, that's what it's all about. That's what the football club has always been about. And it's just nice to see that the traditions are continuing in the women's game under Casey Stoney, and long may it continue. I
understand that it's very hard at the moment to try and like speak positively with everything that's going on, but obviously from our point of view, and you guys as well, we do want to kind of praise our players as well, because obviously they did win the game. So I'm going to carry on talking about it. So Matt, let's come to yourself regarding Tooney. So she played back in the centre, scored a great goal outside the box. What did you think of Tooney's performance, Matt? And as Ben said as well, we started really strong, didn't we, regarding the starting 11? What were your thoughts on Tooney in the starting 11, Matt? Can you hear me, Matt? Sent a private message.
Yeah, sorry, Wi-Fi was dropping in and out.
Yeah. Did you hear my question, Matt?
No, go on. Just go for it again.
Yeah, I was just basically saying that obviously Tooney played in the centre, which is great to see her back where, you know, instead of on the wing. Scored a great goal. But also, as Ben touched on, the starting 11 was very strong, wasn't it? So what were your thoughts on the starting 11 and Tooney's performance?
Starting 11, I mean, I was a little bit surprised. You know, like Ben said, he spoke in our Saturday show about the starting 11. I fancied a little bit of a mix-up. I thought, obviously, the core would be strong. What I did think we'd see probably, you know, sort of 4, maybe 5 changes. I mean, we got there in terms of those changes in the second half. I think, you know, like I said Saturday, I'd have started with Fran Bentley and I'd have probably started with the 2 devs as well. I did say to Ben, you know, there's a couple of players that could possibly cause us issues with Burnley, but nothing. We weren't talking like major issues, you know. It was more just, you know, we'd have to be switched on and not have silly mistakes. But yeah, I mean, listen, it got the job done. Pleased to see the 2 development players come on, and Fran as well. You know, I think she'll have had to have been patient over sort of this last, you know, few months. Obviously, she had a long spell, cut short at Blackburn. Sadly, where she would have probably played. Yeah.
Sorry, I just took Matt out there. I'm sure when his Wi-Fi comes back, I'll bring him back in a little bit. But yeah, so just my thoughts on that then. So Hansen, obviously great for her to get those couple of goals. Tooney, for me, I thought that first half, Tooney was just absolutely everywhere. She picked up the ball from the centre-backs, played as a CDM, played as a box-to-box, running with the ball. Obviously played as a cam as well, getting the goal. I saw her out wide. I saw her doing a bit of everything in that first half, and I thought her and Lucy Stan really played really well. Let's bring Matt back in. I'm not too sure. Here he is. Yeah, so I thought that was really good. Regarding the starting 11, yeah, it did surprise me a little bit, but I think it shows that Casey had intent there. She respected the cup. She wasn't complacent. She played a strong starting 11. Maybe Jackie was the one that was rested. But it's always best to get the game won first and then make your substitutions afterwards, I guess. I was going to bring Matt back in. Matt, I don't know if you can hear me okay now, but he just started to break up at the end there. Just regarding like the substitutions that she made, I think he was talking about the subs with Fran Bentley coming on at the end as well.
Yeah, I was just saying it was pleasing to see sort of, you know, the 2 devs come on. I think Tara was on first, wasn't she, for last half hour, and I think Carrie got to the last 20. But, you know, like I was saying, it was good to see Fran come on. I was saying she had to sort of bide her time and had a loan spell cut short at Blackburn. Personally, I would have started with her, but you know, yeah. She got a minute, she kept a clean sheet, so that'll probably do her confidence wonders. But yeah, listen, we got the job done. It was, you know, as Casey said after, it was just about a professional performance. But I think, you know, you asked me about Tooney, and I think, you know, back in the centre, looked very lively. You know, could have probably had more goals, but listen, I didn't realise how good that goal actually was. I was watching it back before again. She actually hits it with the outside of her right foot, and it sort of. Yeah. I want to say lobs the keeper. I mean, it was a lob because the keeper was off a line, but, you know, yeah. It was a great technique. And, yeah, just pleasing to see. You know, I'm sure that will do confidence wonders for, you know, obviously her, but other players as well that maybe might not have got as many minutes this year. I think just to get the win, you know, obviously, I mean, listen, can't be too disrespectful to Burnley, you know, but, I mean, they're too good for their third tier anyway, but I think from our point of view, you know, we're always expected to win. You know, but I think it was just good to get that win because we've had I mean, for me, we've been not brilliant, probably dire to be fair, since January onwards for me. And some people may say that's harsh, but you know, I think that's my own personal expectations. Really, you know, there's times when we should have stamped out things and we haven't. But listen, like I say, you know, it was job done. We're through to the next round now. A little bit more of a
We've lost Matt again, but just come back to yourself, Ben, before we move on to our last topic. Lucy Stan's goal. I thought that was probably one of the best goals of the game because how Ona just made that pass to her, it completely caught the players off guard, in my opinion. It was like a change of play. It's not a pass that we usually make, or it's not a run that Lucy Stan would usually make. Or I just think that. Obviously, everyone in the comments loves Owen as well, and we'll talk about Owen in the last 10 minutes, I'm sure, when we start talking about potential players of the season. But yeah, for me, that goal, it was just really took everyone off guard, didn't it?
Yeah, nice to see, mate. You know, well-worked goal. And I think it'll do Lucy Stan a world of good as well, like just getting that goal, you know. I know she had an injury hit and suspension hit season, so it'll just like lift the weight off her shoulders in a way as well. Like, you know what I mean? Listen, owner, Badger, as some people are calling on here, because no one can pronounce the name right, these commentators. The guy that did the commentary for Burnley TV, which United seemed to have shared the pictures with, he had a bit of a mare, that lad, didn't he? Oh, bloody hell. I think he was getting everything wrong left, right, and centre. But yeah, you know, it was just pleasing to see, mate. And I think it's going to be a big weight lift off her shoulders. And hopefully now we can see the very best of Lucy standing forth going forward, because she's a cracking player, mate. She's a cracking player. And it's pleasing, as I said, it's pleasing to see goals from various different players as well, not just like one, like one or two of them, you know, that we've seen all season. It's good to see that in that game there was a variety of players getting on the goals on the goal scoring act. So yeah, very pleasing for Lucy Stan.
Well, let's talk a bit about that, because Anthony on our pre-match show predicted Amy Turner and Millie Turner were possible scorers, and he got them both right. He mentioned corner kicks, and I guess because obviously you play a weaker team, you're going to get more corners. But Millie's goal was obviously she out-muscled the defender. Obviously, great header, great goal. Amy Turner a little bit more easy to score, I guess, from that kind of distance. But yeah, I'll keep it yourself, Ben, because I'll bring you in shortly, Matt, regarding our next opponents, Leicester. But just touching on that, Ben. I mean, that was 2 goals from the 2 centre backs. They've got on the score sheet a little bit more this season than they did last season, didn't they?
Yeah, listen, people can say about the opposition and everything, you know, but you still need to score them goals. You still need to be in the right positions. Yeah. You still need to go up for the headers, make them little runs, you know, when the balls are coming into the box. So it's pleasing to see, mate. I should have asked Anthony for the lottery numbers, mate, for the weekend. Well, how did you predict that? I tell you, mate. Fair play to him, though. Fair play to him. He got it absolutely spot on, you know.
Anthony picked too many. He can't even pick 11.
Well, I know. But it's just pleasing. It's just to see the centre-back score, because they've been in for a bit of a rough time, haven't they, of late? You know, people have been maybe questioning their positioning a little bit, and our defensive frailties. So it's good that it has been pushed to one side, a little bit of positivity now back in especially between the 2 centre halves, you know. And I think that'll stand us in good stead for the rest of the season, you know, the last few games of the league season now, you know, and obviously the next round of cup, which Matt will get onto. But, you know, I don't know who Matt's going to support, though.
don't get me in trouble.
If anyone doesn't actually watch or doesn't know who Anthony is, Anthony does he does 2 shows a week, doesn't he? He's on Matt's show on a Tuesday night, and he'll also do a match preview show like just before we start kicking off, when the starting lineups come out, and he'll do a halftime show as well. So if you haven't watched those programs, they're on Twitter Live, but they will be on our new YouTube channel, which will be coming out probably next week now. So it's all set up, raring to go. We just need to launch it. But feel free to watch Anthony, and a great bit of banter there from Vicky, who obviously watches our shows. Matt gets that one. Matt, just finish off for yourself. So obviously, our next round of opponents are Leicester. You've watched Leicester's last 3 games, haven't you? I think live.
A few more. A few more. We'll get into that, John, because I'm already getting comments.
Obviously, you was there on the weekend. What were your thoughts on that? Obviously, they just got promoted, but what were your thoughts on that game against Liverpool?
I think it was one of them. It was very end to end. It took them a while. I mean, listen, they were on top. They dominated the game, but it was like watching us. They created chances and they just didn't put them away. I spoke to Barker afterwards, who's their captain, and sort of discussing it. And she was like, "Oh, it wasn't really great." And I was like, "Well, listen, you've got the job done. You've got sort of the tie you want now." I think it's one of them. They've obviously they're on a high after winning the league. They didn't do any training the week after. I mean, they're in the training ground, but they didn't do any ball work, so to speak. Kind of been at it this week, and it's been one of them. But I think, like I say, it was always looking like Leicester. I think Liverpool created very little. I can see why Liverpool are sat in 4th. It was just ridiculous how poor they were. From sort of a Liverpool point of view, look at some of them players, and some of them players have played WSL that are still at Liverpool. They've still got the likes of Mel Lawley. So it's one of them where you were always kind of, you always knew it was going to be them. It was just a case of them getting the job done, and they did that eventually. So, yeah, and here they are now playing against us.
Nice to see guys in the comments as well. Also, giving Anthony a bit of banter.
Gareth won the poll, by the way, by 1 vote for the Olympic squads. I'll just put that out there, and I'll give him his credit and his praise. Yeah.
We've got 10 minutes left, so we're just going to change the subject a little bit. We're coming towards the end of the season. We're not going to name our player of the season just yet because anything could happen, but we'll just throw a couple of questions out there and then a few names. And then unless there's anything radical happens in the next three or four games, then potentially this would be it. So, Natalie, I'm not too sure if you can hear me, but if you can, first things first, what do you think? Do you think that someone who's played not all the games throughout the season could actually be nominated for Player of the Season? Or do you think that they have to pretty much play throughout the whole season?
No, I think they can. I don't know if you can hear me, guys, but
yeah.
I think they can. For example, Tobin, I won't be surprised if her name's up there as a Player of the Season candidate, rightly so. I know we're here not going to name it, but I think for me, I have to name her because for me, she's been the best player. I think Vicky said it there, Honor and Jackie best, but for me, I just think it is Honor, 100%, because I think she's come in, not speaking a word of English. It's a pandemic. I know Katie talks about this. It's a pandemic. Not speaking a word of English. Not able to see any of her family. There's no fans. For me, she's clear of it. And even this whole thing, I know we talked about the game, but this whole thing, I really feel for her, and I feel for Jackie, and I feel for everyone. But I just, a lot of these players, they come in, they sign for this team, thinking that it's good, and this has obviously happened. So I feel that they've been dragged through this. So I feel like she's had the pandemic, she's had this, she had Dubai Gate, and it's all her first season. And I think everything, she just responds to it and bounces. And so for me, I think it is Honor. Obviously, Tooney's been up there, absolutely fantastic. Russo, even she's played even less than Tobin, but you could say she's up there. Obviously, Jackie. But like you say, we're going to have to take some disaster class. Jackie has played pretty much every game, like with Honor. But for me, Honor, just because it's her first season, that's why I'd say definitely her. And like you say, the whole thing that she's come in with and everything that's happened, it's just still top up there. Yeah,
I agree. I think what we'll do at the end of the season as well is we'll all Stan FC a player. So I'm sure obviously you can go for Honor, and we'll get somebody in who's a big Jackie Gronin fan. And I'm not too sure who Matt's going to choose, but I can think of potentially one, and me and Ben, we can obviously think of a player as well. And we can all just debate for an hour on our particular player that we choose, because there are more than one contender. I do agree Honor is definitely one of the front runners, absolutely. Matt, what are your thoughts on not necessarily Honor, but maybe some other players?
Yeah, Honor's a decent shout by Nat, obviously, and people agreeing in the comments. I think she's been solid. Best defender for us this season by country mile. Like Nat said, obviously, she's had a lot to deal with. She's only young. I think people forget she's 21. So coming to a new country, obviously everything going on, she settled in really well. Hit the ground running. I think in terms of other players, again, I'm agreeing with viewers. I think Jackie, for me, look at Jackie last year, and I was one of them ones saying, she's not been great last year. And I'm happy to admit that, this year she's been, well, I was going to say sensational, but I'll stick to fantastic, because, I think looking at team performances as well, there's more to sort of player in the year than just, certain games or things like that. But yeah, I think Jackie, again, fair play, stepped up from last year. Like I say, last year I was one of the ones that thought, is this going to work out for her? You could always see last year the desire was there, and, there's a lot of sort of running about and pressing. But for me, sometimes it maybe didn't amount to much. But I think this year you've seen a much better player. It's taken her a year to adapt, which is fair enough, because obviously she was over here for Chelsea when I first started watching football. Women's football, should I say. Struggled there a little bit, but like I say, this year, fair play to her. She's been very, very good. I've got to put Tooney in the mix. I really have. People people who disagree, that's fine. But I think for me, pretty sure she's still top scorer this year. Maybe joint, I'm not sure. But that was her 7th goal on yesterday. And she's up there with assists as well. I think this is probably her. Maybe I'd go as far as saying best season in United shirt. I know she was up there in the top scorers in season 1, but I think that championship then was not. I'll comment on that. Leah would be in there, and so would Tobin if it wasn't for the injuries. They have to be in there for me, but I think I've kind of chosen Jackie / Tooney just simply because they've been in pretty much every single game. And like I say, with Jackie massively improved for last year, I think Leah and Tobin 1,000,000% would be in this conversation had it not been for injuries. Obviously, Tobin's not coming back this year. Leah will be risk for the last 3 games. Maybe not. But yeah, those are my 2 anyway. So I'm going to jump to you and Ben and let you add your thoughts.
Just on that, John's comment about Galton, I think I remember saying that I think she will be my player of 2020, but I think because she's been out since was it January, February, I can't even remember now. It's just awkward, isn't it? Because no one, we've all got our favourite players, haven't we? And I think I'm probably known to have Galton's probably my favourite player. I do talk about Galton a lot. So if I could pick Galton, I would. But I just think at the moment because she hasn't played as many games as Jackie and Ona, then I think I'd have to go towards those games. And it's unfortunate, it really is. You mentioned Tooney. I think she had a fantastic start, fantastic first half of the season, and a few sporadic ones in between. So for me, maybe Tooney's probably lingering maybe around 3rd-ish for me, maybe. She's definitely a contender, and I can definitely see why a lot of people would rate her. And obviously, leading goal scorer as well. So that obviously goes a long way. Ben, on the flip side to this, 2 defenders obviously has been named. We've got Ona, Amy Turner mentioned in the comments as well. What are your thoughts on a non-goal scorer being potentially player of the season?
Do you have to be a goal scorer to be player of the season?
No. It's nice to see it, and that's the thing. Nice, yeah.
No, to be fair, mate. To be fair, I'm surprised I was mentioned Haley Ladd. I think she's a bit of a shout as well, man. Maybe a bit of a distance of a shout, but she's still within a shout, Yeah, they don't have to score goals to be player of the season. Luke Shaw got player of the season, one season, which that season he didn't deserve. This season he probably does for the men, David De Gea got player of the season for United 3 or 4 years in a row in the men's. He doesn't score goals; he keeps goals out. I think I think Amy Turner's been solid, mate. It's a good, solid shout. Yes, you could probably say, the defence has been shaky over since the winter break. But then you can also point down the other end of the field. The striker's not been clinical enough this season, So I think that's a pretty good shout, Amy Turner. And I know. I'm with everybody else, though. I think that a certain player that came in this summer is going to absolutely romp the vote. They're absolutely going to walk away with it, and deservedly so. But yeah, it's a good shout, though, Amy Turner. Now the more I think about it, pretty good shout. I was gonna say, do you want my Bristol's answer, or do you want my truth answer to who's going to be player of the season? But
we'll have a more detailed show on this, but this is just a bit of a teaser. But we can kind of see roughly how it's going, can't we?
Absolutely.
And I think rightly so as well. Absolutely. We have come towards the end of the show. We've been going for an hour. Plan for the rest of the week. So I believe this is our 48th show. Our 49th show will be on Thursday night. I believe it's going to be 7 o'clock with myself, Natalie, and Sophie. Sophie's been on the show before. If you're a Man United fan who watches YouTube, you'll know who Sophie is from Head Right Treatment. So fingers crossed that all goes through. Just got to organise the timings and everything. And then our 50th show should be something special. And hopefully, with everything that's going on this week and that we've heard, we can kind of raise our spirits because, well, we're not going to say what's happening, but it'll be nice for us at least for what we're doing. But I don't want to give too much away. So I don't want us to be down when that happens. What other shows are on this week, Matt?
Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Twitter Live. me, obviously yourself, John, and Gareth, and yeah, brief FA Cup roundup as a general. So obviously not just United, but you know the whole sort of ties from that round. I'm going to briefly touch on that, just discuss it, maybe give thoughts on the next round as well, and then after that, obviously, like I mentioned earlier in tonight's show, we're going to talk about this Super League and the potential implications on the women's game. You know, I think yesterday I read Susie Rack and Molly Hudson. They'd sort of tweeted bits on it that I was reading about. You know, it is the plan to bring in women's teams. So yeah, that'll be the discussion point on that tomorrow, 8 p.m. Twitter Live. Obviously, you've just mentioned the Thursday show, and then obviously Saturday, me and Ben are back with our Saturday night takeaway or Saturday night live, whichever you prefer to call it. Again, 8 p.m. And obviously Sunday we'll have the pre-match show and half-time show. So yeah, lots going on. I will, as always, you know, I'll update the schedule after tonight's show. I'll pin it on All for United as well. And yeah, and we'll all pick it up to retweet. So there'll be more than enough promo and info out there for the viewers.
Really appreciate everyone coming on tonight. You know, I know it's not easy, and the shows in the near future won't be easy either. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Look, we had some massive numbers at the start of the show, so thank you to everybody who's come on and left a comment. Natalie, just want to end the show with yourself. Obviously, you popped out halfway through, so if you just want to kind of give your final thoughts, and then we'll end the show.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to pop out halfway. Obviously, my phone went, but it's hard, John. It's hard. It's going to be hard for a while. It's about us all sticking together as Reds. You know, there might be some decisions that people don't agree with, but it's all fighting for the greater good. I think definitely let's unite together. When I say unite, I mean not just us, not just, you know, what we think with the men's team and the women's team. I mean unite with the City fans, with the Leeds fans, with the Liverpool fans, because today I heard Jurgen Klopp and Ben talked about it, but it was good. It was empowering. It was what it needed. I've not heard it yet, but you know, Eric spoke, and we just all need to speak. And if someone asks you your opinion, speak up. Say what you think, even if it's not. Even if you think yes to the Super League, just at least say it so we know where everyone stands. You know, in a way. But listen to what people are saying when, you know, like I said, I'm broken and it's not something that's going to just get fixed, or they pull out next week and then I'm happy again. No. It's you know, it's been happening for a while, this is the thing that's really sort of finished it off. And you know, everyone knows how much I love these girls. I love them to death. I do anything for them. I love Jess. I love all of them. So when I'm if you know, decisions are made and not made lightly, and you know, let's stick together through everything. And they want us divided, and we need to be united.
Thank you, Natalie. We're going to end the show there. Thank you again to everybody in the comments. Thanks, Matt, Ben, and Natalie. And tune in to tomorrow's show on our Twitter account, All for United WFC, where Matt will be hosting our weekly women's football chat show. See you soon, guys.
Cheers.